Hello, what's up everybody? CieZ here, and I'm about to bring you what I think is my third CieZ analysis. I guess we're going to keep calling it that because I don't think anybody has helped me out with a more creative name. But today, we're going to have Barton versus HelpingHans. I have not seen this replay, as is my standard fare, but I'm hoping it'll be interesting. It generally is when these two play, because Barton likes to troll Hans for whatever reason. My assumption is that Hans generally reacts to his trolling, and Barton seems like the kind of person that, you know, gets his jollies off by making people react in certain ways. Anyways, enough about that. We'll go ahead and get into the action. We have Barton playing as the US, opening up with rifles, as is standard fare. And we have Hans going tier 1, getting out some Grens. Now on this map, I think that it's probably slightly US favored for this matchup, simply because there are so many buildings and so much green cover, especially in these areas, that you can use to get your riflemen close in on Grens, and that you can use to flank and nullify the effect of machine guns. And from my experience, Austere tends to rely pretty heavily on machine guns against the US, at least in the early game. Once you get your LMG Grens rolling, it does do a lot to help. But, as I was saying about the green cover and flanking routes in here, that tends to mitigate the effect of the LMGs as well. And Barton is going ahead and picking a doctrine really early. He's picking up Armor Company. It's interesting that he picked it so early and hasn't used the Assault Engineers. Maybe he doesn't like them, I'm not sure. They seem to be one of the main reasons that you'd pick the doctrine. I mean, they're pretty good on a map like this where they can close in and really use their SMGs. I think they're the grease guns that they have. You know, they can use those SMGs really well. But even more than that, they can plant demo charges to help deny, you know, some of this building cover in the middle. And demo charges can be extremely dirty. I think people have realized that for a while. You know, being able to instantly wipe out squads is pretty amazing ability, especially since if you don't go bars as US, and you don't go, like, if you don't go bars, if you don't go grenades, you have a lot of munitions that you can spend on those demo charges. Alright, so Barton doing a really good job so far. He has this fuel decapped while also having his own fuel. These rifles should win that engagement against these Pioneers. Yeah, there's only 2 windows, although it is a stone house, so maybe the Pioneers can hold out for a while. But Hans is taking his fuel back, and interestingly enough, Hans has gone for 4 Grenadiers. I think I would have gotten a machine gun, although Hans is probably a better 1v1 player than me. So I guess I will trust his expertise over mine. This is an awkward map for machine guns, as I was mentioning earlier. So we'll see if it pays off for him, you know, not having that suppression. And Hans laying... was he laying S-mines or a teller there? I guess he was laying some S-mines. That kills 1 model. Don't know if that was really worth it. I think if he had gotten the S-mines off, it probably would have been, but since he got caught, he lost a lot of health on his Pyos, a lot of Pyo models, for not really much of anything. And Barton going really heavy on these rifles. He has, what, 5 rifle squads out. Looks like some Soviet, you know, and you open with 5 cons. Con. The old school Soviet strat. I don't really like that much as US, because, you know, when he techs, he's going to get another squad, so he's going to essentially have 6 rifle squads, and rifles can bleed pretty heavily, especially when you have so many of them. It can also be a real pain to actually keep healed with the way that the US ambulance works, where, like, you have to activate the healing ability. Oh wow, the S-mine's getting some more damage in. So they might have paid off. I guess 1 patch of S-mine's not really that many munitions, and it killed 3 total. Oh, okay. That definitely made it worth it. 5 total rifle models, 4 there, and the other one a minute ago. So I have to commend Hans on that. That was good use of those S-mines. I believe Hans is teching. Yep, teching up tier 2, getting a flamethrower. Flamethrower is definitely good against US, since their rifles are so expensive and it lets your pioneers kind of become a semi-combat unit. The only bad thing is if Barton does get some assault engineers and start planning demo charges, then yeah, he won't have a sweeper, and that could prove to be pretty fatal. Luckily for Hans, Barton has not gotten any assault engineers, so there will be absolutely no American mines or demo charges on the map for now. And Hans taking back a very nice chunk of the map. He has his fuel and munitions, he has both VPs, and he has what, equal strat points? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I was trying to count the strat points there to see who has however many, but it looks actually pretty even on the strat points. So I guess the map control is a little bit more even than it appears to be, although the majority of the map is in Hans's color. Hans calling in a 2-2-2. I really like this unit. Oh, it's a 2-2-1 now, but he's already upgrading to a 2-2-2. I really like this unit against the US. They don't have any way to deal with it right now. Like, he has a bunch of rifles that don't have AT grenades, and he's probably going to catch this rifle on retreat, bust through the hedgerow. Oh, very nice wipe for Hans. Wiping a rifle squad early on, and the reason I was commenting on the map control earlier is because generally it seems like Austere has a lot more trouble in the early game against US, especially on a map like this that favors close quarters combat so heavily, which Grenadiers are not the strongest. I mean, these rifles are probably going to start dominating this Gren squad now that it's close up. Well, the Gren's doing surprisingly well. Ow. Maybe I cursed it. It's what's it called, the caster's curse, where like you predict something. Oh, Hans could get another wipe. Oh, if he chases it, this squad is dead. It's done. 2 Gren squads and a 2-2-2 here. Yep, done. 2 squad wipes. All ready for Hans. 7 minutes in. Amazing start. And he's actually forced Barton into bazooka tech, which I think is not really that good. I mean, the bazookas are good against the 2-2-2, but they're not great against P4s. I mean, I guess they're better than PTRSs against P4s. You know, the Soviets would have access to, but yeah, they're really not great. Especially considering you give up so much anti-infantry capability on your rifle squads. I don't know. I think bazookas could use a little bit of a buff. I really hate getting them as US. I guess we can check. I think Barton only got 1 bazooka though. Yeah, he has only 1 bazooka. So it's not that big of a deficit in his AI capabilities. But he still had to spend the fuel and munitions to grab it, which is a bit unfortunate. A bit expensive, you know, for just the 1 bazooka to counter the 1-2-2-2. It only has 3 kills, but it's also wiped 2 squads, so despite that being a low kill count, it's actually had a huge impact on the game already. And I'm also surprised not to see tech. Okay, here Barton's grabbing the captain. And this is another reason I don't like having to get bazookas as US, is I'm a big fan of the captain, especially in 1v1s. Let me rephrase that. I'm a big fan of the captain, especially against Austere. I don't think that the M20 or the M15 AA half-track have as much of an impact as they can against Oberkommand. I think those are both very good against Oberkommand. And the Lieutenant being able to just shred Stern Pioneers is pretty nice to have. Ooh, P-Grens against Assault. Wow, that flame crit. Well, those P-Grens came around the corner and I did not like what they ran into. Assault Engineers doing a good amount of work against the P-Grens. And Hans making a really solid push into the mid. I think another reason he got the flamethrower as Pioneers, I mean, besides it being against US where he had no current fear of mines, is as a way to clear this position. There's so many houses in this area that the flamers can hide in, and or, you know, just remove squads from. That the flamethrower is a really good investment here. So that's definitely a good decision by Hans. And he's very wise. I really, really like this. He's seen the assault engineers, therefore he knows that there could be demo charges around the map. So what does he do? He instantly covers up a hole in his play by getting the sweepers. He'll also have 2 squads of pioneers to repair if and when he needs it late game. So I think that's really, really, really good choice. Oh, Barton rushing a Stewart. Now a counter to the 222 has come. That's probably a dead 222. Although this could get triple Fausted. But Hans actually doesn't have munitions to shoot it 3 times. So he chooses to Faust it once, which I think is good. It's going to let these Grenadiers get out without fear of being chased down by the Stewart. But he doesn't waste any munitions. You know, if he had Fausted it twice, it can't change him. Or, I mean, it can't chase him, sorry. But also, like, it's just going to get repaired instantly as soon as the crew's out of combat. So, like, a little bit more damage on the Stewart, you know, for the munitions doesn't really help him at all. And meanwhile, while I'm explaining all this, Barton retaking the left-hand side of the map, pretty much undefended since Hans made such a large push into the mid. So the drain is going to be back on our boy Hansi. Surprising, maybe he probably like rallied these guys to cap that point. It was just odd that like the rear echelon ran to this point after they were done capping that instead of like heading off to the fuel or something else. Although these 2 squads should be able to push those Grens out, even though they have a bazooka and are at half health. If he'd really wanted to win, wow, interesting, he's retreating. I guess he either wants to heal them, or... oh, I guess there's more Grens here. I don't know, but he retreated before the other Grens showed up. Maybe he figured since there was nothing on this side of the map, Hans's army must have been moving over there to push him off. I was gonna say if he really wanted to win the engagement, he probably could have popped volley fire, but I don't think it would have been worth it, so I think it's the right call not popping volley fire there. I just wanted to, you know, point that out because, in my opinion, volley fire is something that I see a lot of U.S. players not utilizing. You know, I hear a lot of complaints about rear echelon troops being bad at fighting, and while that is mostly true, mid-game and even late game, I think that having them volley fire squads can be really, really effective. It's, you know, you have to pay some munitions for it. However, US tends to, you know, have those munitions at their disposal, but it's just a really good way to either force squads to focus fire your rear echelons, which you don't really care about losing models on the rear echelon because they're like the cheapest squad in the game, and they pretty much reinforce instantly. So they either have to focus fire rear echelons, which saves damage on your more expensive rifles and, you know, captain/lieutenant squads, or they get suppressed, which is obviously really, really good. And the pack laying in some good rounds on that Stewart. I don't know if Hans was purposely trying to lure it with his half-track, or if it just happened to work out. Either way, that was a very good play. And this is really, really cute. This is really great use of attack ground by both players. I actually didn't know that you could attack ground through the stone wall, which, that does look a little bit funny, to be fair. I mean, you can't shoot a flamethrower through that thing, right? I don't think so. I mean, in the game you can, but I can't imagine, you know... I know this is not real life, but, you know, you want to simulate real life to a certain extent, and that certainly wouldn't work in real life. Maybe Relic can fix that. Probably not really a big deal, though. Oh, that's unlucky. Destroyed engine? Okay, just engine damage. Okay, so that thing will actually live. Get out of there. Hans he's very wisely pulling it back to his base. If he had kept backing up to the left, the Stewart very easily could have rushed in and gotten the last shot or 2 off. And I'm actually a little bit curious as to why Hans picked the mortar half-track. It's a 40 fuel investment, meaning he'll almost assuredly have to wait for Tigers, which, I mean, that might have been his plan in the first place. Tigers are extremely good against USF, whereas Panzer IVs just kind of die to Jacksons. Even the US AT gun tends to tear up Panzer IVs pretty hardcore. You know, it shoots quickly and it has enough penetration. Ooh, those Shreks. Barton better get that Stewart out. Oh, is the last Shrek going to go off? No, it is not. Barton gets out just in time, manages to pick off one more P-Gren model. That was still pretty risky, though. One more Shrek shot, that would have been a dead Stuart. As I was saying, yeah, the USAT gun, it has not great penetration, but enough, even without the AP rounds, to do good damage against Panzer IVs, and just all of Austere Tier 3 in general. And I think we all know that Panthers aren't exactly stellar in a 1v1. They don't do much to infantry, and they're extremely expensive. I'm pretty sure, so maybe someone can check my math, it was been a while since I've done it. I'm pretty sure that you can actually call in a Tiger for cheaper than it is to get your first Panther when you take into account all of the teching costs. Now that I think about it, it's gotta be. I mean, the Panther's only like 50 fuel cheaper than the Tiger in the first place. Or maybe 60. Anyways, I'll get off of that rant. So let's take a look at these armies real quick. Okay, so we're about 16 minutes into the game. Barton is up to 4 rifles, he has his captain and a Stuart, and no signs of teching so far. He could have a major if he wanted by now. He has the fuel for it, and he had the manpower until he called in these assault engineers, which leads me to believe he's going to be relying on M10s and the 105 bulldozers. I think against Austere, that can be valid, but is a bit risky. I don't think the M10s do great against Tigers. I know they can beat Tigers, especially if you can get the rear armor and get the flanks, use their speed mobility. However, Hans already has a Shrek squad and an AT gun, both of which give tons of problems to even M36 Jacksons, let alone N10 Wolverines. Hans has a solid core of 4 Grens, pretty standard. Interestingly enough, he does not have any LMGs yet. Instead, he spent all of his munitions on the flamethrowers, the minesweepers, which is very good given that there could be demo charges, Shreks, and a little bit of mine placement. I think he actually only placed that 1 pair of mines, so really not many munitions going towards mines. And based on the current state of affairs, I'm pretty confident in saying that Hans will be camping, will be waiting for a Tiger and relying on that for his armor. So it's definitely very standard austere play from Hans. The interesting thing to note actually is that he does have a fuel cache, and he's had that fuel cache for a long time. I'd say at least 5 or 6 minutes. Oh, that was a really nice rifle grenade. Barton did not see it coming. He's probably going to get this squad on retreat. It has to run through 2 Gren squads. It's dead. I was going to say it has to run through 2 Grens and the P-Grens. It didn't even make it past the 2 Grens. Nice shot from the Stuart. If Hans can Faust, that's probably going to be a dead Stuart. Here goes. No, he didn't. He wanted to risk the Faust. I think that's fine, though, because Barton is coming in a huge flank. These 2 Grens could die. Assault engineers with flamethrowers. Focus firing this squad down, while Hans is focus firing that squad down with his P-Grens. All of the Grens make it home. Wait. Nope. I spoke too soon. Castor's curse. As soon as I said all of the Grens made it home, I heard enemy infantry taken out. These rifles do make it home with just a sliver of health. Probably a bit lucky that those guys had Shreks. I mean, the Shreks have still been a good investment, deterring that Stuart. But if they had, you know, their assault rifles, ooh, this could be a sneaky rifle nade. Barton saw it or heard it or something. Anyways, yeah, if they had had their assault rifles, they probably could have wiped that rifle squad. And I guess Barton must have gotten some good flame crits there, since Hans mentioned something about it. Oh, that's a really low health Pyo squad. Hopefully the flamethrower doesn't blow up on retreat. Okay, good, it doesn't. As I say, those the fast-firing weapons, I don't know if it's just my imagination, or like the fast-firing weapons like the Thompson, seems to explode flamethrowers more than bolt-action rifles. I guess maybe it's because you're getting hit more quickly for less damage. I guess I don't know the specific mechanics behind that. Oh, big bulldozer Sherman coming up, instantly wiping a Gren squad. Oh, it hits a teller though. Speaking of Hansi planting mines, I did not even see that he'd planted a teller there. Barton popping out. He's going to try to repair crit. Hans's AT gun, though. 1 more shot and it could die. The assault engineers coming with their flamethrowers to try to clear it out. Barton repairs the crit. It's going to get away. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Repair crit is so OP. Relic, please nerf. That was crazy. Just that sliver of health. Barton says, super glue MB game. Oh! Okay, this is where Hans is going to be shouting, where is my luck? He gets like a perfect teller, like that was a great teller spot. You know, Barton runs right into the teller. Hans has the AT gun basically in place to follow it up. And yet, Barton gets out and super glues his tank. And right after that, the main gun esport crit on this M5 Stuart. That is really unfortunate for Hans. And I guess another reason you could shout, hey, where is my luck, is because that Gren squad, you know. The first thing that the bulldozer Sherman shoots at, it just instantly kills. Poor Hans. I'm feeling for him right now. The good news for him, though, is he has a Tiger on the field, and I haven't seen many Tiger versus Bulldozer Sherman fights, but I can't imagine it goes well for the Bulldozer Sherman, given that it shoots HE rounds, and I'm pretty sure it will even struggle to penetrate, like, the rear of a Tiger. Wow! Nice anti-tank rifle grenade or whatever awkwardness it is called on the rear armor of that Tiger. Slowing it down, he's bringing the bulldozer, which of course bounces off of the Tiger. Pack, that's some really great pack usage as well. Hans's packs are almost always in really great positions. If anybody is looking to improve their pack micro, it's something I've been asked about before. You should definitely take a look at Hans's play. He's really good about keeping his packs in the back, but more than that, keeping his packs in positions where enemy armor will be, or where he expects enemy armor to be, which is important. And as I've highlighted in other games, you really want your packs to be hidden from the enemy as much as possible to prevent any potential flanks. This M10 is doing great against that Tiger. Wow! That Tiger is really hurting. Unfortunately for Barton, engine damage. Oh, the pack is moving up. I think that M10 is going to be safe, though this M5 Stuart might not be. If it can get behind the house, it's going to live. Oh, good thing the Pack 40 got nerfed. If that was a pre-patch Pack 40, I don't know if that would have happened. Anyways, I'd like to comment real quick. Barton's map control in the past few minutes, I noticed a couple minutes ago, it's actually been fantastic. As soon as he got that bulldozer and got, you know, that somewhat lucky engagement, let's be honest, like, I'm not bashing Barton. I think he's one of the best KO2 players. He's certainly one of the most entertaining because he plays so many trolley strats, like his double combat engineers inside of the Soviet quad. Well, I guess not the quad because it doesn't have the upgrade, but you know what I mean. It's like the welfare KV-8 or something. But Barton, not only is he an entertaining player, he's also a great player. He might troll other players a little bit too much for my tastes, although I have trolled people in the past. But anyways, he's definitely a good player. Really using that good engagement. We'll call it the lucky engagement. Let's just call it the lucky engagement. Really using that lucky engagement. Oh, he almost wiped that Pyro squad. Really using that lucky engagement to his advantage to get a lot of map control. And I think ultimately, why is Hans driving his tank backwards? I don't think he really wants to be driving with his rear armor. Oh, that's a really good use of the Stuart. This is one of the, I think, the ways Stuarts can be most useful in the mid and late game. Man, there's so much stuff happening, I can't even keep up with it. Let me go back 1 second. Barton was using his map control really well, I believe, probably to try and prevent a second Tiger from ever hitting the map, given that Hans is already down to about 200 VPs. And trying to deal with 2 Tigers with M10s I don't think would go very well. Anyways, as I was saying before, I don't think Hans wanted to drive at Barton's position with his Tiger's rear armor exposed. Oh my god. That thing. Rip M10. That's what I was talking about, you know, those Shreks and stuff just tearing up the M10s. But yeah, I think most people know, but you really don't want your rear armor, especially if a tank like a Tiger, exposed, because, I mean, it does have a lot of rear armor, but it has significantly more frontal armor. Barton moving in for another frontal anti-tank rifle nade, whatever it is called. Anti-tank rifle nade. Wow, literally, I had the name of it right. It doesn't go through. Now, I was talking about Hans's pack micro. It's a little bit out of position here. He has assault engineers on that flank and barred riflemen on this flank with nothing to protect him. Luckily, it looks like he's going to get out. This bulldozer moving up, laying in, I guess, a decent shot against that MG. It only killed one member. Luckily, they're spread out in the neutral cover. That's one thing that the bulldozer's really great against is units in cover, because it shoots those HE rounds. Wow, M10 penetrating that Tiger again, and the Tiger missing. The M10, oh, a penetrating frontal shot too. Maybe I really underestimated those M10s. They've actually been doing fantastic against those Tigers. I need to maybe try them out some more. Oh, the bulldozer's almost wiping that squad. It could still die to the rifles. Vet 3, Kren on retreat, RNG, God. Okay, Hans gets, I don't know if that redeems all of the bad luck he's had this game, but hopefully it redeems some of the bad luck. And, yeah. Wow, Hans getting a sniper. That's very interesting, especially on a map like this. I don't think there's that much room for the sniper to work. I would wonder why. Maybe he'll watch this cast. I would like to hear his opinion on why he's picking up the sniper instead of a Gren squad or two. It seems like he needs the capping power, and it seems like the LMGs might be a safer investment, although he's pretty muni-starved and probably wants to save for Faust at this point. Let's see. Let's take a look at Barton's position. He's actually researched bars and bazookas. I don't think he's researched grenades. Not yet. I wonder if he will. I'm kind of betting that he won't. Ooh, that Tiger driving up. Instantly forcing on those assault engineers. I could have laid in a really nice shot, but both of its shots miss, unfortunately. The Wolverine coming up to deter any movement from the Tiger. Takes about half of its life already in a shot from the Tiger, though. You have to be really careful against Tigers with those M10 Wolverines. I think it only outranges the Tiger by 10. Actually, okay, the Tiger's vet 1. I think at vet 2 of, yeah. Increased combat effectiveness. No, maybe it's only the ace that gets more range, or maybe I'm just completely wrong against that. I think Hans's mortar just one-shot something. I heard it. Oh, flame crit. That's going to be dead. Vet 3 Pyos. That's a lot of repairing power that just died. Main gun destroyed. Wait, did that thing kill? Did it kill? Why can't I see? Yes! The Wolverine killed his own other Wolverine, which I think that's only fair because it did get main gun crit, so it should have been dead anyway. Was that the Stewart that died, I think? Yeah, the Stewart died. These are some brave Shrek P-Guns. Wow, this Tiger is on a rampage! That's at least a double kill. Certainly going to take out this M10 now. Maybe? I don't know. That's a lot of bazookas on the rear armor. Another main gun crit! That's 3 main gun crits so far. Oh man, this Tiger is just gonna get out with a sliver of health. I think that's about all she wrote for Barton. However, Hans is down to 63 VPs, and Barton has him double capped with a potential triple cap, although I don't think these guys are going to live. They have the mortar half-track there, the Tiger's showing up, and the German sniper is there. 25 kills on this Tiger already. Definitely been kind of the saving grace of Hans. Another unit goes down for Barton. He loses those assault engineers in the house. Barton trying to run forward with his sprinted captain, that passive sprint, trying to find the rear armor of that Tiger, is unable to do so. Still pushing in here, though, with a lot of bazookas. He just wants to run down that Tiger. I guess maybe if he kills the Tiger, he might be able to win. He has another M10 on the field, actually. But this MG42 doing what MG42s do, locking down this entire area. Very good investment from Hans. As I was talking about earlier, you know, the power of MG42s against the US. And yeah, I guess he had 2 of them, but the one got decrewed, probably by the flamers in the house. And it looks like Barton is trying to desperation crush these Grens or push them out of the capping circle or something. It doesn't really work out like I think that he hoped that it might have worked out. I guess he probably knows that the Tiger is going to be out of commission for a long time. That still seemed a little bit risky. So Barton, despite having an enormous VP lead, looks to be in somewhat of a bad position. He's down to 2 rifle squads that have bazookas. They both have double bazooka there, maybe double bazooka here. So he does not have much anti-infantry firepower at all. I guess he has 1 assault engineer squad, you know, with a flamethrower. But that, yeah, I was gonna say that'll even lose to this Vet 3 P-Gren, I'm sure. Vet 3 P-Grens are pretty nasty. That might actually die on retreat. Oh, Hans retreats though, which I think is smart. I think Hans realizes he's in a good position, and as long as he doesn't, you know, make big mistakes, he should still win. So I think he's just trying to preserve the integrity of his army, save that Bet 3 squad. He does have to be careful of that Gren squad. It's a little bit unfortunate that he has to retreat there, since he does not want Barton to have any control over the VPs at all at this point in the game. And Barton is capping this back and capping the mid. So this is where, you know, I know that Ami talks a lot about tournament experience and just gameplay experience in general. In these situations, you know, despite being behind in army and in population, Barton is still making this an extremely close game. Unfortunately for him, that Tiger wipes out another rifle squad, putting Barton even further behind, but he has the luxury of time. Being this far behind, the luxury of time might not get him anywhere, but it could still. I mean, 30 VPs, 29 VPs is not a lot of VPs. Does Hans not have healing? Yeah, see this. Okay, he has a bunker, but I guess he's just never had the munition luxury to get the healing upgraded. And one thing I'll point out that Hans has done expertly in this situation, like these high pressure, you know, you're down to your last few VPs. It's splitting his army perfectly. He had an MG42 covering this VP, and so he was fighting an engagement here, while simultaneously moving his Tiger in to take out those rifles that were capping the mid, which has let him get mid back, which is extremely important, given I said, you know, so many times now that he's at 23 VPs. Let's see how many kills a sniper. 7 kills. I mean, that's not terrible, I guess. That's actually going to do really, really good in this low VP situation, since the fighting is probably going to be concentrated on these 2 points for most of the rest of the game. You know, Hans might send like a Pioneer squad to try and harass that victory point, but for the most part he's going to have to keep his army together so that he can defend both spots adequately, as losing one of the 2 VPs for more than about 10 seconds could spell absolute disaster. It's a shame that he doesn't have those Vet 3 Pios. Their repair speed is pretty great. But yeah, this sniper will be able to just sit in the back and just, you know, look at that VP and also look at this VP. And, you know, the distance between them is pretty, you can run there pretty fast, so. And it bleeds pretty quickly too, so it should be able to force squads out of those VPs very fast, is what I've been trying to say. 12 kill, Vet 2 more than a half check, not bad. So if you're Barton in this position, how do you win? What I think you do is I think, like, okay, so the obvious answer is you have to force Hans to defend all over the place. Wow, another squad goes down. That's not how you win. Losing squads is not how you win in this position. All you have to do is get 1 VP for a little bit of time, and you will potentially win. I mean, 1 of the 2 that Hans currently has, so 2 total. So I think what you do is you send a huge push, probably on this side, since it seems to be the less defended side, and you try and force Hans's Tiger over there, at which point you sneak a squad like that into the other VP. Basically what you want to do is you want to take advantage of the fact that Hans has to split his army up, whereas you can concentrate your forces to a much higher extent because you have that luxury of time. Unfortunately, I don't think that Barton has anywhere near the number of forces. Yeah, he's going to call it GG. He doesn't have anywhere near the number of forces to attempt anything like that, since he has, what, 2 infantry squads? What's he need to send 2 infantry squads against 3 over here? You know. Anyways, but that's the kind of stuff that you want to think about, and I guess Barton calls it GG and then is somewhat complaining about pathing, which it is a legitimate complaint. The pathing in this game is pretty terrible sometimes, but I think that Barton should still respect the fact that Hans played a great game. I mean, that teller was great. In all honesty, I'm not trying to pick favorites. In all honesty, I think Barton got pretty lucky that game with 3 main gun destroys and an instant squad wipe from his bulldozer and, you know, some things like that. And getting away from that beautiful teller mine. I mean, that was a perfect teller mine. That bulldozer should have been dead as soon as it got on the field, in all honesty. But yeah, those, like I was saying a minute ago, those are the kind of things you want to think about. You know, when you're in these tense situations, at this point it was pretty much over. Hans has more than double the population of Barton, as well as a Vet 2, almost Vet 3 Tiger, and, you know, some great veterancy on the rest of his army. But, and I'm not trying to criticize Barton, so if Barton, if you watch this, I'm a fan of yours. I'm not trying to be too critical. I think if Barton had maybe preserved his army in the late game a little bit more, he might have been able to make a last desperation push and just, like, mass bodies to cap a VP, then hold it until the game drained out. But he ended up just losing way too much stuff where he didn't have the sheer, you know, firepower to do something like that. Overall, I would have liked to see maybe some earlier LMGs from Hans. I wasn't really keeping tabs on his resources too much, so it's very possible that he just got them as soon as he felt like he could. That being said, I do think that initial flamethrower was a very good investment of his first 60 munitions. I kind of would have liked to have seen healing at some point, but yeah, like, given his low munitions already, and he was pushed off the map for a lot of the game until that Tiger came, he simply may have never had the munitions to spend on it, and he did have a lot of manpower, so perhaps, you know, I really would have liked healing on the sniper. But yeah, given the manpower, you know, the bleed may have not been as important. But then again, healing lets you keep your squads on the field for longer, reduces the amount of time you have to spend retreating, etc., which helps in a tense situation like that. Overall, excellent usage of mines, particularly the teller by Hans. He tried to use S-mines there, which would have been very, very good. I mean, it was good, actually. It paid for itself. It killed 5 rifle models, which is certainly worth, like, what, 15 munitions or something that the single patch of S-mines costs. But if he had gotten a full minefield there, Barton would have certainly had to have gotten sweepers, or most of this avenue would have been cut off to him, since anytime he's capping, like, any of these points, if and when he has to retreat, he's going to have to retreat through S-minefields, which are extremely deadly to retreating squads. That's one tip that austere players can take away from this game, and there's also other games where Hans does this. He probably does it better than anybody, is planting S-mines sneakily on retreat points. If you ever have a chance to do that, the results can be hilarious. But you do want to be very sneaky about it, and you want to do it before your enemy has sweepers, at least to force the sweepers and force them to spend the time sweeping them up. Preferably you do it and then they don't know about it and then they lose a squad. Anyways, a little bit shorter of a match today than usual, but that'll be it for this. Thanks to everybody for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. In the comments below, I think I'll have my Twitter and my live stream as well. I haven't been streaming as much Co lately because I've been busy with other games and other things. However, me and Lemon have been practicing for the Nations Cup. We're in the US Finals. We're hoping to win the US Finals and then move on to the actual Nations Cup rounds of the Nations Cup, or however you would say it. We'll probably be streaming our practice and maybe be streaming our actual tournaments. So if you guys are interested in some of that, check us out as well. And anyways, I'm out for now. Cheers, guys. Take care.